A small motorcycle engine like this Honda 50 Super Cup will likely have no engine temperature gauge that will indicate when it's running too hot and subsequently overheating. This leads to guesswork and uncertainty, especially for users who are new to this bike type. Many mechanics and owners have offered help in isolating things when the motor is overheating. A noticeable loss of power, a pungent burning oil smell, and excessive heat radiating onto the rider's leg have been suggested as signs of engine overheating on these small bikes. Other indicators include a ticking or clicking sound after shutdown, sluggish throttle response, or the engine stalling and refusing to restart. Why helpful? These signs are usually a hit and miss affair, especially for those new to how these bikes are engineered and generally behave. However, here's a simple foolproof method of positively deciding if your small motorcycle engine without a dedicated engine temperature gauge is overheating, and it doesn't require any tools or experience for that matter. First, ride the bike for about 10 to 15 minutes to get it to operating temperature. However, if you are already riding it and suspect that it's overheating, pull over immediately and kill the engine. You don't want to cause damage or make the existing damage worse. Now, this is the crucial part. With your palm, feel the crankcase and cylinder block and head briefly for a second or less. The block and head are usually very hot and will cause you immense discomfort if the engine is indeed overheating, if you put your hand there for more than the suggested 1 second. However, you should be able to put your palm on the crankcase like so for at least a second without feeling uncomfortable. You should, as a matter of fact, be able to do this several times without any feeling of discomfort. If you can feel the crankcase for more than a second and the cylinder head for a second or less with your palm, your bike is running great and has no overheating issues. If you can't because either of these are too hot, then without a shred of doubt, you have an overheating engine. On the other hand, you should also be able to feel the crankcase of your engine with the back of your hand, not the palm, for at least 5 seconds or more after the motor reaches operating temperature. This part of the engine is usually less heat prone because of the type of action it sees. If the crankcase is so hot that you can't feel it with the back of your hand, talk more of making contact with it for about 5 seconds. Then, without a shred of doubt, you also positively have an overheating engine. It's not necessary to have an infrared thermometer to figure out if the engine of your small bike is overheating. However, I've decided to include this to demonstrate the normal range. Also, I've added an infrared thermometer as an alternative method since the threat of burning yourself is very much present if you don't carry out this hand-feeling procedure properly. Remember, an overheating engine will have scorching temperatures that can cause real burns if you are not conversant with this old trick I've developed through the years. As can be seen, a temperature reading of around 50 degrees Celsius taken from the crankcase area after the engine has warmed up to operating temperature is normal. For the cylinder block and head, a temperature reading of about 90 and 80 degrees respectively should be expected, since the engine is generally hotter around these parts, especially the cylinder block. The above said, it's worth noting that because these engines are air-cooled, they hardly ever overheat unless you have zero engine oil in the crankcase or have neglected oil changes for ages, or ride the engine very hard for extended periods of time, especially through mountainous terrains, or have overloaded the little bike for extended periods, or have covered some parts of the engine, obstructing airflow while using it. The implication: if the bike is overheating and you are guilty of any of the things I've just mentioned, simply undo what's wrong, and 99 times out of 100, everything will resolve brilliantly and the overheating will go away on its own. These bikes are simple but extremely durable and generally bulletproof. Usually, they hardly go wrong when and if used as the manufacturer originally intended. Catch ya on the next one.